When all this started, like I said, I could not read. I probably have only read in my entire life, as of today, possibly a dozen books to completion. And yet I've been invited to speak at universities, colleges all over the country. Not once, not twice, but many times. I've spoken to groups from this size and much bigger. I have dealt with all kind of uppity-ups and intellectuals, and I hold my own ground because through the council I developed a vocabulary, not just words, but the understanding of words and the meanings of those words. I developed an education that our school system could not furnish me, thus allowing me to meet and talk with people that I would have never had the privilege of doing. The council can work miracles in your life if you're willing to surrender your life for a much more productive and full life. I've always been a very simple person, very, very open. Show me what has to be done, and I'll do it. I don't like anything very complicated. I like everything to be reduced to its truest state, which is simplicity. So when you can take something and reduce it to its simplest form and give it to me, I can assimilate it. And the council, in their wisdom, decided this old guy is so stupid that he'll never be productive in life, so we'll just pick on him. And in the process, we'll give him a little education. If it had not been for the council, I would not have experienced the wonderful people in my life that I have. I would not be here tonight with you people. I still cannot say with total sincerity that I'm a full participant in a trance, because I know what goes on internally. I know how I am before I start the process, and I know how I am after the process. But I'm very happy not being a part of it. In that in-between, I find satisfaction in just offering myself to be used in any portion and in any way that's necessary. Out of that, I've been fortunate to see a lot of the world that I would have never seen. Yes?
I just wanted to give a reaction to the first experience we had with the council and how did you know it was 12? One of the comments during one of the questions was that there seemed to be a collective spirit that interchanged and that maybe not all 12 were there at the same time, and that someone exchanged ideas with the basic knowledge that everyone could extrapolate from. And I just want to give your initial reaction on your first contact with them and how did the number 12 come up?
First contact, came with it? Oh boy. I bought my first tape recorder I'd ever owned because a friend of mine that I went to school with, in fact, he was my best buddy in high school. He was the one that brought me to my first spiritualist church. Out of the clear blue sky, he came back to Ohio and he said, "Bill, something new is going to happen." I said, "What are you talking about?" And he started talking about all this spiritual stuff and psychic stuff, and I told him, I said, "No," I said, I left that years ago. I just got married. My wife doesn't understand that, and I don't want to get back into it." He says, "You don't have a choice, Bill." Well, I'm an Italian, I'm a bull, and on top of that, I'm kind of bullheaded, and I said, "I most certainly do." Well, he went off to California. I bought the tape recorder in order to record a message to him. Since I told you my deepest dark secret that I can't read, that means, the logic is I can't write. Okay? So I'm not good at this writing, letter writing, so I said I would tape record a message to him, a letter to him. He liked the sound. At that time we lived on a farm. He liked the sound of nature, so I went out on the front porch at, what time did you used to leave in the morning then, Nancy? What? 6 o'clock in the morning. I kissed my wife off. She jumped in the car, went up the hill, and I sat down in my favorite chair, packed cigarettes, a cup of coffee, 3 or 4 pieces of a stack of tapes, and my new tape recorder, put it in, and all of a sudden I got real sleepy, and I thought I dozed off. I woke back up. My wife was coming down the lane, and when she come out of the car, I walked over to her. I said, "What'd you forget, honey?" She says, "What do you mean, what did I forget?" I said, "Well, aren't you going to work?" "What's wrong with you? I've been to work and back home." Did I give you some idea of the first experience? Well, from there, all hell broke loose. Excuse my French and bluntness, but that's exactly what happened. I saw the tapes all disturbed, and me and my wife discussed it. We put one tape in. It sounded like, it didn't sound like me. At that time, in the very earliest stages, when you listen to those earlier tapes, it sounded like it was much slower, a great deal slower, and it sounded like a very laborious task to talk. So it didn't really sound like me.